Alrighty, so the last problem that I want to look at is on page 40. It's called Which Papers Should Kristen Write? It says for her Shakespeare course, Kristen is to read all 5 of the following plays and choose 3 of them to write papers about. Richard III, The Tempest, Macbeth, A Midsummer's Night Dream, and Othello. How many different sets of 3 books can Kristen write papers about? Do the problem before counting. Now, for those of you who've taken other math courses where you looked at counting principles, you're automatically saying, oh, I'm going to do a combination here. I'm going to do 5, choose 3. That's fine. But if you were teaching this to a class that didn't know about such algorithms, you would want them to be able to solve this just by forming a systematic list and realizing that order doesn't matter here. It's just the types of combinations. So what I've done is I've used the first letter of each of the books, since they're all different, to represent the books of Richard III, The Tempest, Macbeth, A Midsummer's Night Dream, and Othello. And what we're going to do, we're going to use that idea of freezing and just start with Richard III and look at all the different possibilities we could have using that one. And then after that, we'll exclude it and look at any other possibilities. So we could have Richard III, Tempest, Macbeth, that we write our reports on, or we could choose Richard III, Tempest, A Midsummer's Night Dream, Richard III, Tempest, Othello. But let's say I don't want to use a Tempest, so I froze both Richard the Third and Tempest. I'm going to skip Tempest and do Richard III, Macbeth, A Midsummer's Night Dream, Richard III, Macbeth, Othello. That's everything with freezing Richard III and Macbeth. So now I'm going to keep Richard III frozen, but now go to A Midsummer's Night Dream. Then I have Othello. But that's everything with freezing those two. So I've exhausted everything using Richard III. So I'm not going to use that. Let's start with Tempest. And then how about Macbeth and A Midsummer's Night Dream? Tempest, A Midsummer's Night Dream. Oh, excuse me. No, Tempest, Macbeth, and Othello. That's everything freezing Macbeth with Tempest. Now I will go to Tempest, A Midsummer's Night Dream, and Othello. That is everything with Tempest. Now I will go ahead and start with Macbeth, and then A Midsummer's Night Dream and Othello. And that's the only remaining combination. If I start to go back, even if I did Othello and froze it, and then I would have to have Richard III and then Tempest, I see that, oh, that's already there. So all of the combinations here are exhausted since just 3 are needed. And that would give us a possibility of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different combinations of book reports that Kristen could write. And that is all the example problems I wanted to go over.